Thank you all for coming to this second annual State of the City. Thank you to all the elected and appointed officials who are here with us tonight. Nights like this would not be possible with a lot of behind-the-scenes hard work. So I would like to acknowledge all of the city staff who responds to my 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 6 a.m. Teams messages. And so if you're a city staffer, please stand up. This is the dream team. This truly is the dream team. And of course, it wouldn't be possible without all of the hard work of the chamber staff. And I'm not sure if you know, but at the back, you will see some of the locks of the bridge as we're undergoing a rehabilitation of the bridge. And they painstakingly inventoried those locks to make sure they go back to their rightful owners. So thank you, chamber staff, for always making this such a great event. So, State of the City. What are we doing? How are we doing it? And make sure that we're not broke when we get done. That's really the end all be all of it all. I am an accountant by training, so you can call me a numbers person, and it will serve you well. It used to be that the route to the city manager's office was through the budget office. That's no longer the case. The route to the city manager's office must be through the development office because you've got to figure out how to make the puzzle pieces work. So tonight, we're going to focus on 7 focus areas that this council repeatedly, via their retreats, via my one-on-one conversations with them, would like to see accomplished in this coming year and the years to come so that we solidify Bastrop's place in Central Texas. So there's our council. That's a great-looking group of people right there who are gelling, led by Mayor Ishmael Harris. And if you don't know Mayor Harris, you can't miss the cowboy hat. Today, we were entertaining a Romanian delegation, and between his cowboy hat and Judge Klaus's cowboy hat, the president of the Romanian county that was visiting us wanted to leave with a cowboy hat until his delegation reminded him that you can't pack a cowboy hat, you have to wear it. And so, anyway, I'm not sure if Dory made that happen, but Dory extraordinaire makes those kinds of things happen. So tonight, you're going to hear from each council member in their own words. I had nothing to do with the interviews. Those are conducted by the Chamber of Commerce. My job is to try to make sense out of the snippets. And I'm just going to tell you, AI was not thrilled with the interview. So we'll run through that here in just a minute. So focus area number 1 is absolutely protecting our heritage and protecting our history. You're going to hear that theme throughout. You've heard the term new urbanism. You hear the terms about how fast Bastrop is growing. The number one theme this council has is protecting our historic core, protecting our residents, and ensuring that growth is done appropriately, correctly, and in places that serve to enhance the community, not cause further detriment, whether it be flood, traffic, etc. So that's some pretty significant numbers right there. From January to September, it's $168 million of investment into Bastrop. Those are significant, but they continue to grow. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Those are actual permits that have been applied for. Those are actual valuations. That's not including what's coming. So we continue through the development process, smoothing out the development process. Doc and his team do amazing work getting things in and out, so much so that our team is receiving kudos from other places, and folks are trying to call Bastrop home because we are business friendly and we're also environmentally friendly, and that resonates with some of our overseas companies. It is a balancing act, right? There's our mayor and there's his grandfather, and those are generations of Bastropians who have lived here, and so protecting that way of life and protecting our history are at the root of our discussion today.
As we move forward, our mission is simple. Do what's right for the people, protect our heritage, build opportunities, create spaces for family and neighbors to thrive together, and above all, keep Bastrop strong. Strong in history, strong in unity, and strong in vision.
So as you heard Becky allude to, that we did amend the B3 code. That was necessary. There is a term called new urbanism, and while it is not a bad word, it has become a bad word for historic towns such as Bastrop. It is infill development on the guise of density, density, density is how you get the most return for a piece of property, and ergo, that should be good for a city. You should want to maximize the amount of tax value per property. For a city, maybe. For Bastrop, no. That means tearing down historic structures and building 4 and 6 in their place. That means replacing a code that had no lot sizes. That means replacing a code that was deemed to address drainage and flooding via the historic floods, but then increased impervious cover numbers to unheard of numbers even higher than Austin. So I'd like to say the emperor wasn't wearing any clothes. I know that's not a nice thing to say, but it is the reality of what we were facing. So to be able to protect Bastrop and live under the code were two things that did not match. We have made significant changes in the code and will continue by the end of this year, do a full revamp presentation of the code, and it will no longer be the B3 code.
If I look forward 5 to 10 years, what is it that I want people to say about Bastrop at that time? Well, this is an important theme for me, and that is preservation. One in our city seal, which I'm not even sure if you can exactly see it, but is right there behind me, preservation of the past. The way that comes in is that I want people to be able to walk out their front doors, and aside from larger trees here and there, I want their views to basically be the same as it is today. So I don't want houses torn down. I don't want super dense duplexes put in their place. I want Bastrop to kind of look like it does today, 5 and 10 years from now. Yes, on the periphery, we'll have more growth. We'll have additional stores built. As I mentioned, our trees will get bigger, but I want you to be able to walk out of your house and still see the things that you see around. So what that translates into is that the things that people are saying today about, oh, what a great looking small town, and oh, I love this historic section, and I love that the people have big yards here. I mean, things like that. That 5 and 10 years from now, I want them to still be saying that because the theme for development that we see through Texas Municipal League or what other cities are doing is, new urbanism. It's extreme increased density and things that don't fit what we've had in Bastrop and what we like about Bastrop. And so I think, 5 and 10 years from now, that I want people to still say, oh, this is a great looking town. And then as an aside, we also have great people. The friendliness that you experience just walking down Main Street or, talking to people out in the community, certainly want to continue to maintain that.
Again, preservation, preservation, preservation. We did make significant strides in the historic core for large lot sizes and reduce the impervious cover. After all, if we're afraid of flooding, then we probably shouldn't put 25 items on an area that is flood prone. So, council is also looking at ways to preserve our history, not just history in buildings, but also history in people. So right now we are looking at ways to resurrect the German casino. The German casino right now sits as a pile of bricks at the Public Works office. The plan is to build it on the grounds of the convention center and again create a gathering space as it was before, a place where bridal showers, baby showers, and community gathering can happen. And because it's on the grounds of the convention center, we can use hot funds, which means no effect on the general fund, and again, no effect on taxes. The cultural district, the South End, that's being led by Councilmember Perry Lowe, is a reflection of our African American roots, our 13 freedom colonies, our history that is deep in Bastrop that happens to be concentrated on the South End. And so we are planning a South End district. We've had several meetings. There are some committees. No, this is not going to be a rezoning. No, this is not going to be a special designation. No, this doesn't mean you can't paint your house a certain way. This means you will walk into an area that is completely distinguished and looks like the history that is there and continues to live there generation by generation. It's bound by 95, Water, Chestnut, and Gutierrez. Some of the ideas that we're thinking about are the murals. We have 2 TxDOT highways that are going through there. There's artwork that can be placed there. And again, it is just creating a sense of space. unique identifiers in our signs and signage that just tell you you're in a different area of Bastrop, one that is rich in history and one that should be cherished. We're investing in Fairview Cemetery. How best to honor the past than by those who are no longer here to tell it and are simply marked by dates on their gravestone. Fairview Cemetery is receiving a loan from the general fund for a columbarium, which, if you don't know what that is, it looks like a bunch of little mailboxes that we put our ashes in. So it's a beautiful, beautiful structure that's being built by local artisans. And if you've not had a chance to take a look at Fairview, or perhaps continue to think Fairview is going to be a place for you to lay yourself or your family to rest, please consider being laid to rest in the columbarium. We've also opened another section in Fairview Cemetery because, believe it or not, we were running out of room. Death and taxes, right? The only thing that are certain. And lastly, rehabilitation of the old iron bridge. I know it's the Colorado River Bridge, but it is affectionately known as the old iron bridge. And I want to tell you, when I first came to Bastrop, I came over that bridge and thought, what a cute little town. I ended up at Copper Shot Distillery. What great moonshine. I think I can like this town. I was leading a presentation on growth and development at Hyatt Lost Pines for the Texas City Managers Association, because if you haven't figured out, development is my thing. I love what I do. I love how to figure out the puzzle, and I love that it is the economic engine that makes a city grow. You cannot do much unless you figure out how to make those cylinders run. Otherwise, your residents will be taxed and the burden becomes too great. Which brings us to focus area number 2, being good stewards of public finance. I tell you, I'm a bean counter. Staff will tell you they can't come into a meeting with me without having their calculators with them. Whether that's your phone or you've got your computer open and you're going to open up Excel, because I'm going to ask you what the return on investment is for what it is you're proposing to me. And the idea is that we keep costs low, we become efficient, we partner, and we get it done. It's not paradise if the locals can't afford to live there. This is the bane of my existence in my hometown, Corpus Christi, where my father still lives and needs assistance every single month to make ends meet. I grew up in extreme poverty. I know that sometimes that $20 doesn't seem a lot to that city staffer who's trying to plan an increase or trying to get a COLA across the way. But for somebody who's got to pay an extra $20 a month, that's medication, that's a tank of gas for a week, that's lunch money. Those are not luxuries for a great deal of our people. So I'm super, super sensitive about those things. We are the only city in our area who passed a no new revenue rate. What does that mean? No increase in taxes from the city of Bastrop. We're also the only city that did not put a fee increase in anywhere. We didn't increase your water. We didn't increase your sewer. We didn't increase your trash. None of those things. We are living within our means with the new values that were created. We put over $30 million on the ground last year, and because of that growth, we were able to keep costs down. The general fund continues to sponsor the street debt, and when I came to this council, one of the things that I said was you cannot borrow your way out of street repair. You're borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, and guess what? That debt's got to be paid. You get to a point where, well, maybe we can refinance, and you're hoping and praying that rates are low. That's not the environment that we are in today. And so to tax and burden the taxpayers with 20 and 30 years of debt seems unfathomable to me. And so council made some pretty significant strides with some reallocations that we'll talk about in a minute as we go through the streets segment. Rebranding Discover Bastrop. As of September 30th, Visit Bastrop will no longer be a contractor for the city of Bastrop. Instead, we have created an amalgamation of departments in marketing, and that will be known as Discover Bastrop. What does that mean to you? That means the ability to be efficient. That means the ability to reinvest those hot funds where they belong. For example, this very convention center, which is the one thing that hot funds should be used for, has needed a roof for a significant amount of time, $250,000. Guess what we're going to be able to do this year? We're going to be able to put a roof. We're going to be able to replace the carpets. We're going to be able to do those things that hot fund was intended to do. Additionally, we're able to support our assets even greater and have a united marketing front. That effort is being led by Michaela Joyce. I don't see Michaela here. Oh, there she is, Michaela Joyce. Michaela comes to us from San Marcos, and we've got a cadre of new staff that'll help make that come to fruition. This year in the budget is the first year the hot fund was not drawn down and fund balance taken. We actually put money in the fund balance to help it grow. The long-term plan is that this building become a recreation center, a site of a recreation center. And so before I turn it over to the general fund, I want to make sure that it is in good condition. The last thing I want to turn over is a building that is in disrepair that we've not managed to upkeep.
Well, my big goal when I ran for office the first time was, to fix the B3 code, which was making it very difficult to build or even to remodel a home or anything like that in Bastrop. I was very dissatisfied with the level of customer service that we had at the city, and I come from a service background, so customer service was all I know, and to have a city government that treated you like you were there to serve them instead of the other way around really drove me nuts. And so those two goals, which were very interconnected, was the fixing the B3 code, which we've done a great deal toward, and with the city manager that we hired, Sylvia has done an amazing job of bringing a customer focus back to city government, and I'm very proud of that.
Thank you, Kevin. That customer service focus to me stems from the fact that English was not my first language. My parents also did not speak any English. So imagine having to go to the city of Corpus Christi and ask for an extension on your water bill and being embarrassed because you couldn't speak English. And as a 9-year-old or 7-year-old child, I'm translating application documents for my parents. The shame that you feel when you're made to feel lesser than is nothing that belongs in city or local government. We work for you. So focus area number 3 is quality of life. I'm super excited about this one because the council had the opportunity to borrow for the bridge. We had done a borrow a few years ago in hopes of getting a grant. We were sitting on about $3 million, but we were paying interest on that $3 million. So $3 million isn't really $3 million when you continue to pay interest on it and it's sitting on the bank. Its buying power diminishes greatly. So council had the opportunity to borrow some money with no impact to the tax rate and also have the ability to pay down other debt because of some savings we did in the debt fund. And council chose to invest that into quality of life projects. The park that you see there is an improvement to a park at Minerva Delgado. It will be the city's first all-ability park. Children in wheelchairs will be able to access every single component of that park. We are starting with the revitalization of Fireman's Park. That is a pretty stinking awesome park that's paying homage to the firefighters who used to use that park for their softball games. The park will include improved parking, some shade structure, some new bleachers, and a restroom. Enhancements at the Fisherman's Park splash pad. I know this splash pad is very near and dear to some folks' heart. Folks, some ladies, maybe some in this room, raised money and were able to construct this really with a shoestring budget. It's a great area and kids love it. My problem is it doesn't recirculate water. So in the summer months, we waste about 1 million gallons a month. That's very painful when you have residents in the county or in the periphery whose wells are dropping precipitously. It is irresponsible for us to continue to do that. And so we are putting over $660,000 in improvements into Fisherman's Park That park will be catered to younger children who often get run over during the play session, because we will have another splash pad also at Minerva Delgado, which is an all abilities splash pad. That's Delgado Park. A little niche pocket park of a couple of acres that was an afterthought and feels like an afterthought, except it's an important asset for that community. So when we began talking about Delgado Park, some folks said, oh, that's not the place. That's not the place. Because, you know, they think they know better. Then we asked the residents, and they couldn't be happier to have that park in that area. They couldn't be happier that somebody was finally paying attention and that their children could have the same access to all abilities and splash pads that others have throughout the city. So I'm super proud of that park. It will also have an additional bathroom. It will also have a larger pavilion for birthday parties and things, because we believe it's going to be a very popular park. And then lastly, let's not forget the often forgotten Mayfest Park. If you've ever been out there in the summer heat, you know, the snakes and the lizards like to hang out right there, but pretty much not a whole lot else. There's hardly any shade, and that park is difficult when we're having events to keep folks contained. The park will have some covered swings, a covered playground, and also a covered pavilion where families can come and enjoy not just the rodeo, but all of the events that we have planned at Mayfest Park. Lastly, you can't forget the dogs. We've got improvements to the Bark Park and are beginning the feasibility for a par 3 golf course on 15 acres. Yes. On 15 acres of floodplain and floodway that at one point was going to have houses on it. FEMA changed the flood maps, thankfully, and what was once in the 500 year came into the 100 year and actually moved those flood lines. So again, rather than exacerbating a flood issue, the city's going to leave that open as it is, as golf courses don't have a lot of structures to them. And in conjunction with this being recreation center, it makes sense that we're able to also combine our resources and utilize what we have instead of trying to go out and build something brand new that perhaps we can't afford just yet. And then lastly, we have a Veterans Memorial Park. I don't know where this is going to be situated just yet, because we've got a couple of ideas. One of them is near the American Legion Post. The other is near the police department. And then the other is near one of our city parks. In that borough, the council has allocated $500,000 for a sculpture that will pay homage to our veterans. When I came on board, the DEI, now the Bridging Bastrop Board, was in the middle of formation, and I asked, well, what are we trying to solve? Who are we trying to help? And it was a little bit disjointed, and so I said, let's ask Google. Let's ask, what is the most frequent term that folks who live in Bastrop are asking? And that term was, how do I access my veterans benefits? And so today, I would like to thank those veterans for their service. And if you are a veteran, please stand up to be acknowledged. Thank you for your service and your continued service to our country. With us today, we also have David Garcia, Community Relations Officer for American Legion Post 533. So I don't know how many of you know this, but the American Legion is actually on city property. If it were to cease to become an American Legion, it would come back to the city. So we are going to be better partners with our servicemen and women and help make some improvements to their parking lot in the facility, because we owe them a huge thank you. So we can't forget about our thriving downtown. It continues to be the hub of Bastrop business. And one of the things that we are looking at is a parking garage in the downtown. Yes, I know, that's exciting. That's exciting. The historic bridge, the revitalization of the historic bridge will include another pedestrian walkway to connect down beyond the neighbors so that you can get down to the river section of the park.
If I could accomplish one big goal for the city, I bet anybody could tell you that Cynthia Sanders Meyer is going to say we need a parking garage downtown. So I think I need a billboard on me that says parking garage downtown. So that's kind of the downtown. But my point on that is I want to make sure people can still come to the heart of our city, which is downtown, and be able to enjoy and just really take in our culture. But I also want the people who live here to feel like they still have the town they know. But I talk to people all the time that just moved here, and they moved here because they love the town for what it is. So I want everyone to be able to still be able to enjoy Bastrop for what it is and the wonderful things that are coming.
So a couple of what feels like years ago, it was probably about 12 months ago or so, we had a series of B3 code meetings that talked about transportation and walkability and how we connect ourselves through a series of trails, et cetera, et cetera. TxDOT has put in sidewalks along Highway 71. We have spaces for trails. Right now, we are working with the boring company to create the first underground connection that would connect the State Park, Mayfest Park, into the River Trail. And it happens right in front of Buc-ee's at the intersection of 71 and 95. Very cool stuff. Council continues to make a commitment to Bastrop, continues to make a commitment to the Opera House, the arts, and all of those things that make us special. That beautiful owl that is showing up on that screen, that was recently unveiled on Friday, and that was done by Robin Luck, wife of Mr. Joe Grady Peck. And Robin is over there in the corner. If you have not seen that sculpture, please pay it a visit. It is absolutely astounding what she did with metal, and I asked her if she ever needs anybody to help hammer. I have a lot of aggression. I could beat that steel probably. And Cynthia Roberts said that he can't get you a billboard, but he can get you a Bill Bob, and he'll wear shirts that say parking garage. Focus area number 4, attracting quality employers. This has been the work of the Bastrop EDC. This has been yeoman's work by Angela and by Dory, who continue to, again, entertain employers and make sure that we're attracting those people that are beneficial to our students, beneficial to Bastrop ISD, beneficial to our residents, that are good paying jobs, that are long-standing jobs, that are jobs that can train, and jobs that keep our graduates here. The first is TA Adhesives. I don't know if any of you have been down to the industrial park. If not, you should pay it a visit. TA Adhesives is a Canadian company who does specialty adhesives. It's amazing to me everything that needs to be glued these days, from computer parts to packages to that doggone stuff that keeps your stuff together that feels like it's never going to come off. This is LS Electric. Accutronic is still in the plan review phase, trying to get going. Accutronic has been a great partner with BISD with internships out of their Austin office. LS Electric is electrical parts. These are transformers and things that take 12 months, 18 months to get. We have in our midst here, which is also attractive to development. If you can get the parts sourced sooner, right? Time is money, and the interest monster is always hungry. They're already into their first expansion.
There is something that I'm thinking of as far as relationships with school and education and the youth. We are looking to get ACC back here. So that's interesting for people older like myself that want to continue education. We can continue to pull from the resources that we have here in the city, as far as the school district, to get the good people to maintain them here. We don't want them going off to Pennsylvania somewhere. We want the good talent staying right here, and we want to cultivate that. So I think that's a good step forward. So I'm looking forward to working with the school district and the county and the chamber, looking at building those relationships so we can get that going. I think it's really important.
Focus area number 5 is managing growth. You saw on the first slide that we had over $168 million in development in the first 9 months alone. With a small development services staff and a small staff for the city of Bastrop, those numbers are astronomical, and yet the wheels are running smoothly. There's nothing falling off the bus, although there are times that we may leave the office with our hair on fire. Specifically, Christina, who is in charge, stand up Christina, Utilities Business Office, who's in charge of starting all of those utility accounts. Whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting, right? At least it's going to be in Bastrop County. We continue to maintain our water supply. The Simsboro wells came online, and we continue to work toward an improved wastewater treatment plant number 4. I'm going to nerd out a little bit on this stuff because this is my thing, right? So this is the Simsboro plant. Tens of millions of dollars went in to put these wells online. That was supposed to secure our water supply for the next 50 years. We're not going to make it to 50. But what we are going to do is we're going to take care of our wastewater and put our effluent back to use. My goal is that the Colorado River not know the city of Bastrop is here because we are such good environmental stewards of how we treat water and wastewater. So we want to monetize what was once expensive to maintain. Wastewater treatment plants use a lot of chemicals. They use a lot of power. Our new plant is solar and wind and also electric generated, but it relieves the grid greatly, which drives down the cost. The plant that we just ribbon cut several months ago is already becoming obsolete. The state has passed new levels for phosphorus and other discharge that the new plant's going to have additional filtration system to it. Is that bad planning? I don't know, but shame on the state for not letting us know something's coming down the pipe so that we can at least plan for it as we're in the planning stages. The plant that we're looking to move towards and already in planning stages is a membrane technology plant. And again, I'm going to nerd out completely.
5 or 10 years from now, I would love for the citizens to be able to say that we were prepared. We were prepared for what's coming down the pike, whatever that may be. Almost certainly it's going to be a lot of growth. We don't know what shape or form that's going to take. And so that's our biggest challenge as policymakers is to prepare without knowing what we're preparing for. So it's, I'll be very happy if in 10 years when I'm off council, that people tell me, hey, I'm really happy that we were prepared for what's coming our way and what came our way.
So the Aquifer Storage and Recovery Project with the City of Austin, how many of you have heard about that? And I'm going to tell you that it may very well be a great project. I've got 3 concerns. One of your water plants sits above an aquifer. Why don't you try it there? Number 2, in order for us to be considered a partner, not a stakeholder, a partner, we must sign a non-disclosure agreement. That non-disclosure agreement gives us access to the maps, gives us access to well location, and gives us access to what is called desktop data. We have some information, but there's still a lot of information lacking. And so how many of you trust when a politician says, trust me, I have your best interest at heart? Trust me. Trust me. That's sort of the equivalent of that. Additionally, the conversations would not have had it not been for Representative Gertie's filing a bill that would have prevented them from doing that here. I understand folks believe we're at gunpoint. The Austin Water is holding a lot of meetings throughout the area. They have promised no eminent domain. What I can tell you is there are other ways to get eminent domain. It doesn't have to be the city of Austin. And so I'm very cautious when somebody says, trust me, we know better than you. Thirdly, I don't want to be beholden to anybody for water. As it stands right now, the greatest partner is Aqua Water. No offense, Stacy, love you to death. But the city of Bastrop during times of drought, etc., would need to go to Aqua for water if our water supply failed. It is in the Carrizo Wilcox, and we are in the Sims Borough. And so I'm hesitant. The council is hesitant. The council asked for information in executive session. The council asked, can we see it before we sign it? And the answer was no. So we're all a little leery. The council did pass a resolution not in support of, and so, here we are. Our new method for wastewater treatment, that footprint of 12 million gallons sits on about the same footprint of the existing 2 million gallon plant. And I know I'm going to geek out, but those membranes can clear particulate matter that much smaller than a human hair. And so what does that mean? That means we get reclaimed effluent that developers can use for purple pipe, because one of the greatest water expenses is residential irrigation, especially as it relates to the newer subdivisions who are installing irrigation systems. Effluent pipe is a revenue source. Additionally, the method that the plant uses, I know you guys don't want to hear about poopy solids as you just finished eating, but it makes it available so that we can create what is called dillo dirt. That's also a revenue source. So what we are transferring is what was once absolutely nothing but expense. We're transferring into revenue, and for the sole purpose of keeping the rates down for the ratepayer. Focus area number 6, infrastructure improvements. We talked about the reallocation from the BEDC tax into street maintenance tax. And again, there is no city that will ever borrow their way into street maintenance. It is just unattainable. And, you can't ever borrow your way out of debt, whether you're trying to do a consolidation loan and never cut up your credit cards. History shows you're going to run up those credit cards again. I know, I was a credit counselor in a prior life. What you're going to see is Water Farm in Linden. I know, for those of you who've been waiting a long time, Water Farm in Linden will be out for bid. September 10th is when it publishes in the paper. Yes. The hope is that we have those streets constructed in early 26. That's one revenue stream for streets. That is for street maintenance. Water, Linden, and Farm were a money borrow that the city did several years ago. Again, as we're sitting on it, paying interest on it, less and less becomes available. We're doing innovative technologies. No need to rip up the street, cause huge mobilization costs, cause serious issues for the residents to and from. These are during the school year. These aren't happening during holidays. And so the amount of downtime that we have with pipe bursting, we're doing a pipe bursting project on 71 that will give Sendero and others additional access to wastewater. And then we're doing pipe bursting on Water Street and some of our other internal streets so that we can make those improvements to necessary infrastructure while we touch the street. And then our partnerships with the county. And I said this earlier, but thank you to Judge Klaus and Commissioner Carmack. The county has done several streets in WCID number 2. And that has allowed those residents to end that segment of the road tax. So they actually saw a decrease in their tax bill through the partnership of the city and the county. Monumental effort. The next is the county will partner with us and do streets. That's Buttonwood. So thank you. Where's Jimmy Crouch? Thank you, Jimmy Crouch, for the early morning picture. The county will partner with us. We will pay for materials, and they have the machinery and they have the staff to do some of those streets that are long awaited. The city, we do have plans. There is a street repair. Over the weekend, I was with asphalt paving contractors driving the city, updating the map. We hear you. The council hears you. And so to that end, Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland hears you, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So there's also a roadway impact fee. I don't know if you guys knew that that was instituted for new developments. and that is for developers to pay the cost of additional roads or new roads. That does not mean that we're going to exact it and keep it. That means if the developer can build that road cheaper, have at it. What we want is a road. What we want is traffic alleviation. One of the biggest indicators of quality of life is traffic. Focus area number 6, resident engagement and transparency. So we launched a portal called OpenGov. We launched it during this budget season. You will be able to drill down into every department, into every expense, and it is updated nightly. It is reading our payment system through the back end. There's no manipulation of that. You can drill down to credit card receipts. You can drill down into some pretty significant information levels because it is your money. We are supposed to be stewards of that money. Additionally, when a project is not on time or on budget, it is expensive and you can't finish it. That's why our partnerships with the school were so important, to have them build their schools on time and on budget. And James, will you stand up? Development Service Director, super instrumental in making that happen. I don't distinguish between an ISD taxpayer or a city taxpayer. We are all taxpayers and it hurts me just as much.
I am a former and forever communications major, so you will always find my attention at the intersection of 4 things: what the city is doing, how we're communicating with the residents about it, how we're inviting the public to participate in everything we do, and how we incorporate that feedback. At the intersection of those is where I live and put a lot of my attention as a council member, because it's important to me. I won't always be a council member, but I'll always be a citizen, and public participation is my thing. It's my number one thing.
So public involvement in governance is also big. Again, we want to make City Hall a place where you can make your voice heard. Sure, we see the keyboard warriors at Nextdoor and Facebook and everywhere else, but those folks who take the time to come down to City Hall and make a concerted effort to be heard, those are the real warriors. They don't know what they're walking into. Half the time, they don't even know where to sign their name up to speak. And so it's important for us to make City Hall welcoming, and we are meeting you where you are. We're holding meetings in parks. We're holding meetings in town halls. We're holding meetings here at the convention center. I do a sit with Sil every single month where no question is off limits. You can curse me if you want to. You can ask me any questions. You can ask me questions about my personal life. That's okay. Because I need you to see that I'm human and I am one of you. And I'm here to do a job that the council has tasked me to do, and that is to represent them and represent them well.
In the future, looking, back at Bastrop the way it is now, 5 or 10 years to come, I want people to look back on the hard work that went into maintaining our city, of knowing, hey, this is still Bastrop. We didn't morph into something else just because we are growing at an exponential rate. We are still Bastrop. I want them to understand that the code amendments that we did from the Bastrop building block codes were to protect this town, to be able to maintain what it is. I also want them to enjoy future amenities that we have coming, our great parks, a recreation center that will come, that everyone can enjoy, but they're going to look back and say, hey, everybody who had decision making on the table decided we want Bastrop to stay and maintain the culture and the way it is.
So what's on the horizon? This is an exciting new development called Bastrop West. It is at the intersection of 20 and 71. It has an area for a hospital and a medical mall, which is a hospital and clinics. It has an area for a hotel convention center. It has an area for outdoor entertainment. It has an area for outdoor concerts and youth fields, all situated on about 400 acres. Super exciting as we continue to grow, and the line between Travis County and Bastrop County is really blurred. The mayor's been asking for a hospital. Here you go, Mayor Harris. Happy birthday.
to where we're able to economically enhance ourselves. And that comes from where we have kids who want to give back into the community, want to help Bastrop grow, want to help Bastrop stand out and be separate from everyone else. I want my ideal vision or thoughts of Bastrop is to where when people look at Bastrop, they're like, man, that's the way that you bring your community out of poverty. That's the way you start a sound job system. That's where you really hone in on the trades and get children, the kids to understand the difference between where they really want to go in life, be it a trade school or in the college, but all at the same time want to give back into the community and help grow it in whatever capacity. Raising their families here, again, increasing the quality of life, right? And really holding on to that heritage that makes Bastrop what it is. And a big thing, man, if I can really put a stamp on something, I know it probably won't happen in the time that I'm mayor, say if I'm here for the 7 years or the remaining 6 years. But man, if we can have a regional style hospital here for our citizens, that would be like the ultimate goal. I can die happy.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. You're going to see an item at the next council meeting for a feasibility study for that hotel and that hospital. And then we're moving rapidly for the economic incentive package that's going to make that a reality. All right, so you've heard a couple of comments. Collaboration is key. The city cannot do it alone. The county cannot do it alone. The school district cannot do it alone. We are partners in all of this. The emergency services districts, we are absolute partners. And as we continue to work together, many hands make light work. And the job gets easier to do, especially if we're all rowing in the same direction. Fostering transparency. And I use the word fostering because Councilmember Foster, that's been her thing. You heard her say that's her thing. And so I don't know how else to turn us inside out, but just to let you see how the sausage is made, whether that's from a financial perspective or what's happening with the projects. That's been a really, really big thing for Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland to understand that we are on time and on budget and are executing well. And when we are near not able to execute, that I bring that to the council quickly so that we adjust our sails and continue to deliver. And then I'm hopeful that all of these things are aligning with the community continues to ask for. And that is a government that's representative of them. A lot of times I hear folks say, I just moved here from Austin. I just moved here from Houston. Michelle, I just moved here from California. And you can't have that. And my stock response is, well, you didn't close the door behind you. They are still coming. However, we don't have to lose our identity and we don't have to lose who we are because we've got new friends and neighbors coming into town.
Bastrop has always been about the people. From our earliest days, we've looked out for each other, cared for one another, and built a community rooted in trust and neighborly love. That spirit is still alive today, and it's what will carry us forward. We stand at a unique moment. Bastrop is an eye catcher. People are moving here. Businesses are looking here, and the opportunity is coming our way. But with that growth, it is important that we don't lose who we are. Bastrop is one of the oldest historic towns in Texas. Our heritage, our traditions, and our blue-collar grit are the foundation of our identity. That doesn't change just because we're entering a new chapter. We don't need to change Bastrop. We need to enhance it. The energy, the movement, and the connectivity of our community are alive and well like never before. Generational residents feel that their voices are being heard again. Their history and traditions are being respected and preserved. With me as mayor and with the city council united in a new mindset, we are proving that the future can be built without losing the heart of who we are. Bastrop is strong because of its people.
Thank you for listening to me ramble on tonight about wastewater and particle size and et cetera. I absolutely love what I do, and thank you for having me as your city manager.